So the Carlos Corberan era has begun at the Hawthorns. Welcome back to another video here on the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel, where of course we're giving you all the latest news, views and opinions on all things Albion. We're here today to talk about Albion's new manager, Carlos Corberan, talking about sort of the details of the deal, his sort of incoming to the club and what we can kind of expect from him in these early days as manager. Hopefully there'll be a more in-depth video coming over the next few days as to what sort of style of play, tactics he can implement. But for now, we're just going to run over the deal, react to it, give you my thoughts, and I'd love to hear yours in the comment section below. Apologies for a bit of lack of uploads on the site. Been a little bit busier recently, but of course had to come back and give my 2 pence about Carlos Corberan. So yeah, it's going to be a really interesting appointment for Albion, a bit of a new avenue for them to go down. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe for more content like this, of course, here on the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel. We've got match previews, match day vlogs, full-length podcast episodes, the lot. So yeah, make sure you subscribe for more content like this. And let's get straight into it. Let's talk about Albion's new boss, Carlos Corberan. You're watching the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel. For match previews, match day vlogs, match reactions and more, make sure to subscribe to the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel. So let's begin by talking about the details of the deal. Well, it was a late announcement from the club, wasn't it? About 11:30 on Tuesday evening. So yeah, it was a little bit of a late one, if we have to be honest, but we got it in the end. West Bromwich Albion are delighted to confirm the appointment of Carlos Corberan as the club's new head coach. Emphasis on that word, we'll come back to that later. The 39-year-old has signed a 2.5-year contract at the Hawthorns and will take his first training session on Wednesday. Corberan's backroom staff, which will include James Morrison and Gary Walsh, will be finalised in due course. Chief Executive Ron Gourlay, who has come out of his cage for this one by the looks of things, says, Carlos is a coach of the highest quality and I'm delighted to welcome him to the club. Carlos was in our thoughts from the very beginning of the recruitment process and our admiration of his qualities only grew upon meeting him. He is a confident, enthusiastic and detailed coach who is as determined as I am to bring success to the Hawthorns. We share a belief that the performances and results will improve under his guidance and that significant time remains in the season for us to mount a serious assault on the championship table. I would like to thank our fans for their patience during what has been a frustrating start to the season. I am certain they will now throw their full support behind Carlos and the team as we work to move together and forwards as a club. So, yeah, of course, 2.5 year deal. Firstly, that's sort of the big news. We're wondering what sort of appointments, what sort of length of contract we were going to give the Spaniard. And yeah, I think that's probably reasonable. I mean, it's lovely to kind of have that, the long-term sort of thing. But part of me is a bit like, you don't want to make the same mistake as you did with Valérien Ismaël, where you end up paying off a 4.5-year contract. You don't want to end up paying off that because, with Albion not been successful with any of sort of the last 4 or 5, 3 or 4 maybe appointments of this that we've made. So yeah, I'd probably go for that and say, the last successful appointment we've had was probably Slaven Bilic, and that was a 2-year deal. So yeah, I think, you're probably in safe hands going for 2.5. I suppose that's, takes you right towards the end of, I think it's probably the end of 2024, 25 or something like that, I think. So yeah, I think it's a good 2025, I think, to the end of the 24-25 season, I believe. So yeah, I think that's probably a good length of contract. I think you've got enough wriggle room if things do go drastically wrong, but you've also got a little bit of room where you can give him a little bit of an opportunity to build, which I think will be nice. I think, like a lot of Albion fans, I'm not expecting results straight away. I'm not expecting that style to be implemented straight away. That might take a little bit of time. But I think the big news was the head coach reverting back to that head coach model. I think, manager was what Steve Bruce was entitled, but I think Corberan's gone for head coach, which could that sort of open the door for something in future for a sort of a backroom staff role for a director of football or something like that? Of course, Ron Gourlay has touted that appointment at board level being quite crucial. So maybe we could see something like that coming in pretty soon. That'll be interesting to see. Maybe the head coach is kind of an indication towards that, the fact that Corberan's not going to be overseeing this all himself. So yeah, that will be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to kind of keeping an eye on that, because that's a situation that I think is just as important as getting this manager right. And I think that this will be I hope this will be a good appointment. I think Corberan's got that quality as a coach, and I've been reading a few articles about him over the past couple of days, and some of them are pretty stunning, to be honest, the way that he coaches and sort of anecdotes from previous players. So Albion can confirm George Alcaron and James Monroy have joined the backroom staff of head coach Carlos Corberan. So yeah, they work with Corberan at his previous couple of clubs, Olympiacos and Huddersfield. So they'll be teaming up with James Morrison and Gary Walsh in the first team set-off. So Alcaron is the assistant, and then former Barcelona youth coach James Monroy worked alongside Corberan at Leeds before joining him at Greece earlier this year. So I think that's quite interesting. You know, you've got those two coaches there, but then again, I think of Corberan as another coach almost himself. I mean, he was that, you know, he has been that throughout his career. So I find that quite cool that, you know, you've kind of got three coaches. It looks like that there's very high standard in that coaching department, you know, with the way that, you know, especially Monroy, I think, you know, former Barcelona youth coach, they don't come... They don't come very often, to be honest, especially not at the Hawthorns. And obviously, he didn't join him at Huddersfield, but did join him at Leeds United and was there in Greece as well. So yeah, new Baggies boss Carlos Corberan has experienced, you know, he's experienced that second tier of English football with Huddersfield. Let's talk about his career to this date. So yeah, he's been a very good coach by the sound of things throughout his, throughout his career. He retired at the age of 23. He was a goalkeeper. I think this must be one of the first goalkeepers we've had as a manager. I think I saw a stat on social media earlier of him being the first goalkeeper since somebody quite some time ago to manage West Bromwich Albion. So that's quite interesting in itself. But yeah, he started off sort of with a youth role. He was promoted to the technical team in Spanish top flight club Villarreal, who went on to finish second in the Liga, which is one of their best ever finishes, regarded as one of their biggest ever achievements. He's been an assistant coach in Saudi Arabia. I think he's been two coaching roles in Cyprus. So I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce either of those names. But yeah, I think that's interesting. It's an interesting route, certainly. But yeah, he moved into England at Leeds United, balancing academy and first team duties under Michelis Bielsa between 2017 and 2020. He assisted, I think, the Argentine at one point, and he helped them to promotion, I suppose. And yeah, I think that's where he sort of got his name and became Huddersfield Town's head coach, and obviously guided them to the playoff final last season, where they were just a couple of kicks away from Premier League football. So yeah, I find that really interesting. I find that pretty interesting. Obviously, the Olympiacos spell was quite worrying. It was only there for I think a month, which is quite interesting in itself. Not too many games really in that particular reign. I think there was only 5 league games he managed in Greece, which is not very much for a manager, especially of somebody of Corberan's quality that we're hoping can bring in a bit of longevity. Which that's a little bit of a red flag, I must admit, for him. So we're hoping that we can have a bit of longevity with this particular head coach. But yeah, for thoughts from me on the appointment, I'm really pleased. I mean, what we've been dying out for is a little bit of direction, something with a bit of style, substance, but also with the ability to get those results virtually straight away. I think that's quite interesting and intriguing to me. Can he come in and implement maybe not the perfect style that he wants, but can he adapt to the playing, the players that we've got at the moment? And are the players going to listen to him? I think that's the most worrying sign for me, is that the players have seen off quite a few managers now. Certain players in that dressing room have seen off, 5 or 6 managers you're looking at now. So I'm thinking, can those players buy into this philosophy? Are they going to listen to him? Are they going to run for him? Are they going to try for him? Because he's going to need 100% effort. I've watched his interview with the club media, and he seems such a detailed coach. He seems like all he needs is that 100% effort, and he can bring you to the level of those playoffs, maybe, perhaps. But yeah, I think, the players are the worrying thing for me. Are they going to buy into it? Are they going to down tools quickly? I think that's going to be intriguing. But I think with Corberan, with a better set of players than he did at Huddersfield, I think he could work some very, very good football. I mean, he's obviously worked under Bielsa at Leeds, where they were the favourites in most games going into the championship season, of course, winning promotion champions. I think he's got that. He's not like Ishmael, where he's only used that underdog mentality. I know he's only assistant manager at Leeds, but I think he's got that underdog mentality. So I look forward to. He's got the underdog mentality, but he's also got that we were top of the Championship with Leeds, so he's got a bit of experience in that. I think a good coach is what we've needed for a while now. Bruce clearly wasn't a good coach. He was a manager that relied on that man management, and I think Corberan isn't that. I look forward to seeing a young progressive coach, but can we get that back in behind me? Can we get that back in at board level recruitment? I think that's the most important thing for me. Can you support this manager or this good coach that's going to come in and bring fresh ideas to the table? So yeah, that's my qualm. Are the players going to buy into it? Is Corberan going to get the backing and the support he needs with staffing and recruitment behind the scenes? We hope so. But I'm a big fan of the appointment. If I have to be honest, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can bring. I'm sure he's got a lot of fresh ideas, which for me is quite exciting. It's a bit of a different to the usual appointment, but with this ability to possibly coach this group of players immediately. So yeah, I do really look forward to the Corberan era at the Hawthorns. Let me know your thoughts on it down below. Are you pleased with the appointment? You're a bit sceptical like me with perhaps that the players won't buy into his philosophy? I look forward to hearing it in the comment section below. Stay tuned for more content, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.